We're talking FDs right now. What is up? Welcome back to the channel. I am actually in Jacksonville, Florida. I've been all around Florida this weekend doing a bunch of crazy stuff, filming, playing casual rounds. But now my off season is coming to an end and I am going to have to start to think about what I'm going to be throwing this season. I definitely spend some time in the winter. I call it my winter bag, which is discs that I wouldn't normally throw or bag, but it's because I don't want my starting lineup to get too beat up when it doesn't really matter, or I don't want to lose the discs in the snow when I was in Massachusetts. So I figured what better way than with my brand new Pound bag. Shout out to Pound Disc Golf. If you didn't see, I've been newly acquired by Pound Disc Golf and I absolutely love it. This is the best bag on the market. I have tried a lot of bags. The Pound bag by far superior, and I'm so happy to be representing them this year. Let's start loading this Pound bag with some discs, and we're going to start with putters and work our way up to drivers. Starting off first, my OG summer putters, stiff P-Line P2s. Last year I tried to use a newer pair. One of them got stabbed halfway through the season. I had to switch up. I'm back with the old pair. I don't care. I'm just gonna use them until they die. These putters are very special to me, so I hope they bring me some special moments. Speaking of the putter that got stabbed, this is the opposite one from the pair, and I've been using this as my very, very flippy throwing putter. Crazy hyzers that turn super, super late in the flight. I just absolutely love it. Gotta have that one in the bag for the understable putter shots. A disc that actually hasn't been in my bag that much this winter, the Soft Tactic. I put this one back in the bag. I got an ace with this one back to back in Colorado. It's just a standard Soft Tactic. I wanted this one to go in the bag first. It's got a little bottom eagle stamp as well. If you've been watching my vlog, you've been knowing that I have been loving the S-Line P3X. I call this one the P3 Ace. I got an ace with it in Oregon, and it is a great disc, great mold. I love the stubbornness of the disc. If I put it on an anhyzer, it'll turn. If I put it on a hyzer, it'll hyzer, but I can basically just throw it as hard as I want and get that good dead straight flight out of it. But that doesn't mean I don't need a C-Line Tactic, because this is my overstable approach disc. Use it for the anti-flex flicks. Very occasional for me to backhand this. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it's just the right shot at the right time and I'm just feeling it. C-Line Tactic, doesn't get better. Next up, my S-Line MD3. You've probably seen this one on the vlog this winter. I love this disc. I've been throwing the S-Line MD3 longer than I've been on Team Discmania, but I just have been hot and cold with the MD3 for basically my entire career throwing them. Sometimes they just work and sometimes they don't, but right now this one is working, so it's in the bag. Mindbender, one of the straightest mid-ranges ever made, and I just got this die done from Ace and One. The very cool stamp, very cool die. Shout out to Simon. This is a great disc. This is a brand new one because the red one I've been throwing from last season is starting to get a little flippy, so brand new one right in the bag. And this is not going to come to any surprise for my biggest fans. D-Line MD. This one has been going strong since August 2020 when I broke my first one. But you gotta have a D-Line MD in the bag for mid-range rollers and long jump putts, of course. Now this one is a Metal Flake MD5 that I actually got from Joey Tamale, and it's good for my backhand flex shots where I don't like to backhand the Tactic that much, or the P3X won't fight out of it. Also, overstable sidearm approach, you can't go wrong. It just goes a little bit farther than the C-Line Tactic. Now moving on to fairway drivers, we're talking FDs right now.
Yeah, I'm talking about
FDs,
baby.
Night Strike 1, Night Strike 2, second run FD. There is no better FD combo than these three. The Night Strike 1 tends to be the most understable. Even though my Night Strike 2 is really, really beat in, I still like it better for sidearms because it's flatter than the Night Strike 1, but the second run FD is the perfect complement to both of them because it's really, really overstable and torque resistant, where these ones are like a hyzer flip to turn. This one is slam it on a hyzer and it's gonna stay on a hyzer. Without a doubt, 3 FDs in the bag at all times. C-Line FD1. You've seen it on my channel. I've been loving this disc. Flex shot, sidearm, hyzer skips. It's just a much more controlled version of the FD3 for me because it's slower and it doesn't have as much fade. If you miss your line a little bit, it tends to have a little bit more forgiveness than the FD3. FD1 coming out soon. I'm not sure when. This is a disc that I have been needing for a very long time. Moving to something a little more familiar, we have my FD3s. I've had this Color Glow FD3 in my bag since January 2020 when Simon gave it to me, and it has been an absolute staple in my bag. It's never left, even before I was on Discmania. And then this C-Line Prototype FD3. Stiff C-Line, very, very flat. When I first started throwing this thing, I had to chop it on a ton of Annie every single time I threw it because of how overstable it was. And it still is very overstable, it's just a little more beat in now, but these two complement each other very well, where that one is pretty beat up, I can hyzer flip it a lot. This one's basically all flex shot. A lot of this off season I've been throwing the CD1, and I love the CD1, however, I don't have that many backups of it yet, but I do have a lot of backups of CD2s. So I just figured this one was in my bag last year. It never did me wrong. So I figured I just have to put it in the bag for the start of the year. And that doesn't mean that I won't end up throwing the CD1 eventually. But the CD2 has always been one of my favorite discs from Discmania. So I can't go wrong by throwing one of these in the bag. Now we have a couple PDs, the brand new S-Line and the old Innova S-Line Lone Howl. This S-Line has a ton of glide, but it does have a lot of fade at the end. I can throw it on more flex shots, where the Lone Howl is much more a hyzer to flat for me. And if I want to throw it on like a turnover line, it will hold out longer than this one will. They both complement each other very well. I haven't really got the chance to throw the new S-Line one in the wind. It doesn't mean it's not capable. It's just a matter of finding out. As much as I love this one, I could not play a season on the tour without a Lone Howl in my bag. And I also retired my old Ace Lone Howl. So this one, it's very pretty, as you can see, the nice little die I got on it. Very excited to throw that one on tour. Now moving to the distance drivers, my old C-Line PD2 that I got from B-Stank last winter. This thing was an absolute workhorse for me every single course on tour last year. And I took it out of the bag this winter because I didn't want to lose it. But now she's back in action and ready to fly like a dream. So thank you, B-Stank, once again for giving this to me. This disc is very well loved. Couple distance drivers to finish it off. And these are subject to change is all I'm gonna say, because I haven't really been playing that many courses that throw a lot of distance drivers, or more so distance drivers in the wind like we play on tour. This is like my foundation that I'm gonna start with, and then I'll build on it once I start to play a little bit more on tour. The DD1, you can't forget it. One of our best new releases. It's a disc that's been missing in our lineup. It's that little bit slower DD3 shot, so you can throw it in the woods and it doesn't have as much fade at the end. I throw it on a ton of hyzer and it flips up to flat and it just kind of rides that line, and I absolutely love the DD1. I don't know if this disc will ever come out of my bag, but it might be time for a new one because I've been throwing this one a bunch and it's been getting beat in, but we'll see. Next up, I have my new Creator Series Cloudbreaker. This has never been thrown, but it is just too pretty to not be put in the bag. It's got my logo all over it. It's got my logo on the bottom. Very cool disc. The Creator Series Cloudbreaker, for me, it starts out a little bit more straight to stable rather than overstable like a typical DD3 does. So that's part of the reason why I just know I can throw it in my bag brand new, because I feel like they all fly pretty much the exact same brand new. The fact that I can just replace one very easily is the reason that I'm so committed to throwing the Creator Series compared to my Cloudbreaker 2 in the past, which that doesn't mean that my Cloudbreaker 2 won't make it back in the bag. For right now, the Creator Series is in the bag. C-Line Prototype DD3. I just got this one from Mike Carmen. We made a nice little trade, and I had told him back when we first got these in the summer of 2021, don't trade that to anybody, I want it. And I went over Mike's house a couple weeks ago and he told me, hey, I've been saving this for you because you told me don't trade it to anybody. So I said, yes, please, I'll take it. So I feel like it's only right by Mike to throw this bad boy right in the bag. Can't forget about this bad boy. Just send it. I have not thrown this disc in a couple months because it's been winter, but she's back. And I think I'm gonna go out and play around later with the discs that are officially going to be my tournament bag for the 2023 season. And having Just Send It in the bag just puts a smile on my face. This is the best run of DD3 ever made. The domiest disc I've ever seen made by Discmania. The Just Send It is just unmatched. It used to be the most overstable DD3 I've ever thrown, and now it has beat in to be a dream hyzer flip. I can still throw flex shots with it, and people think that this is a PD2 because of how much it fades at the end. But I can assure you that this is a DD3 that's been in my bag for over 3 years now. So it does magical stuff, and I don't question it. I just let it happen. right, now that we got that mess taken care of and the bag's all color coordinated the way I like, I would recommend color coordinating your bag to anybody because I can take one glance at my bag and know if a disc is missing when I'm out playing around and I'm throwing a bunch of shots. But now I'd like to do a little special segment because this is the bag that is like my standard lineup, but I'm the type of player that changes discs for every course. If it's a wooded course, I'll probably throw in an extra CD2 and an extra FD. If it's an open course, I'll put in an extra PD2, an extra DD3. So I'm just gonna run through this stack right here and kind of show you guys, because these ones have a very high likelihood to make my bag at some point this season. Metal Flake PD2 from Isopoika Niklas Anttila. This is the most overstable, most reliable PD2 I've thrown. I typically like my really overstable PD2s to be flat so I can sidearm them into the wind. And this one I got from Niklas just happens to be the perfect fit. And once those, when I check the weather for a tournament and it shows that wind logo, this is the disc that goes in the bag. You just gotta have it, at least on a wide open course. Now, one that I've been throwing a bunch in the last month, the new S-Line FD. These are going to be a treasure for a lot of Discmania throwers for the rest of time. I can see it now. It is a much more affordable choice than the Night Strike, which is out of production at this point. And I am hoping that I can use this on rollers, maybe a little bit irresponsible rollers where I'm too scared to throw my Night Strike if it might roll in the water or something. That's when I pull out the S-Line. And I have been loving it for the hyzer flips and the rollers. There's a chance that it'll make the bag at some point this season. And one of my favorite discs to throw, actually, the Midnight Prowl 1. Unfortunately though, on tour, we just never really get the opportunity to throw that many mid-range turnovers. At least I don't, because I'm a sidearm heavy player, where as much fun as it is for me to throw the late flip mids, it's a much smarter tournament choice for me to throw the sidearm in that scenario. There's always courses like Waco, where you need a flippy mid, and the Midnight Prowl just answers that call. I actually chained out for ace with this disc twice in the last 2 days, so I love it. Now we're talking about the overstable and the wind. This is another one. Cloudbreaker 3, dyed by my buddy Jesse, and this is Domi White Cloudbreaker 3. A lot of people who have thrown these have definitely seen the beef. So when the wind is up and the C-Line prototype might not be overstable enough, this is the bad boy that comes out to play, and I just absolutely love this die, so I can't wait for that opportunity to put this one in the bag. This is my S-Line CD3 that I've been throwing for a while. As much as I absolutely love the S-Line CD3, I'm seeing quite a bit of overlap with my DD1 as it gets more beat in. So I would say with my beat up CD3 and a brand new DD1, there would be no overlap, but right now they're pretty similar. But I love the S-Line CD3 so much, so it will definitely get some action this season, just not right now. Another one of the new S-Line additions to the lineup, the S-Line DD3. This thing has already proved itself to be my go-to roller disc for distance. There's really not much else to say about it. It's very flippy. I love that about it because all of my roller DD3s in the past I have had to get from other people that threw the crap out of theirs to the point that they didn't want it anymore. And I would like trade way higher value for them, even though they're trading me a beat up freaking piece of plastic, to have what I call as an expendable disc. I can throw this. If I lose it, I get another one. It flies the exact same. That's kind of what I love right now about the new Discmania plastic. It's very replaceable, very consistent. But this thing is a super hyzer to turnover shot and a roller for me, as well as a big distance sidearm. But it'll be making the bag, especially once we hit like Stockton. Speaking of rollers, this is my Essence. And speaking of Stockton, this just got a lot of action out there as well. And as well as Northwood Black, because my FDs, I can throw them very reliably in the woods, but sometimes when the gap is just really skinny, I'd rather hit it on that vertical hyzer angle and then let it flip at like 250 feet, where the FD, if I throw it on a vertical hyzer, more than likely it's going to hyzer out at some point, where the Essence is going to still want to turn over. But rollers and my vertical hyzer flips, the Essence will go in the bag. Like I said, Northwood Black, OTB Open, it'll be in there. As I say with this one, you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Full tilt. It'll make the bag. It'll obviously make the rotation. It'll get its use. Right now, the way I'm looking at my bag, it's just kind of good. And every single time though, I end up playing I keep bringing up Northwood Black because it's just the type of course it is where you throw crazy scramble shots that you would never anywhere else. The tilt has to be in the bag. You know, it's just, it is what it is. It has its purpose. It's just a matter of finding that purpose. And I've definitely found its purpose, but it just needs, it needs the right course and the right scenario to make the bag. But that is going to do it for my building the bag video. And of course, later on in the year, things will get switched up. I'll release an in the bag probably on the Discmania channel. But for now, this is what I'm gonna be rolling with to get myself kickstarted for the 2023 season. And I'm very excited to get back out there. Really excited to warm these discs up in some competition, get them flying. We'll be out there in Las Vegas in no time, even though I'm actually, this is a quick update. I released my tour schedule recently and I had Vegas as my season opener, which it has been my season opener for the last 5 years. Besides in 2020 when I played the Wintertime Open. So this year, Trevin and I are carpooling out to the West Coast from Texas, and I asked him if he wanted to play the Wintertime Open, and he said he's always wanted to play. So I am starting my season in Los Angeles at the Wintertime Open, and I am so excited. We're gonna be staying with Kale. It should be a good time, a nice warm-up week on a super fun course. I absolutely love to play on Oak Grove, and it's just gonna be a great time to get things started off right before we head out to Vegas for the big Pro Tour event. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. My new pound bag's fully loaded with all my Discmania plastic, my new lineup, ready to go for the year. Can't wait to get out there, start chucking them on video coverage if you're coming out to watch in person, whatever you will, and on the YouTube channel. I love my discs and I'm very excited to get started. Thank you for watching once again. Like and subscribe, and do yourself a favor. If you're looking for a new bag, go pick yourself up an Octothorpe, Octohall, the Rufus, whatever you want. The pound bag is the way to go if you're in the market, and you will not be disappointed. That's all I'm gonna say right here. But that's gonna do it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.